Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the SmoovePlayz podcast. I'm Austin, aka Austin Plays, joined by Dean, aka Mr. Smooth, and it's week 5. We got our Sunday slate. We got 4 teams that are on bye weeks. That is the Steelers, the Packers, the Bears, and then the Atlanta Falcons. So hopefully we'll be a little bit shorter today, but we're gonna get through these Sunday slate games, roll right into our Sunday night game that we'll have a video come out later today or later, depending on when this video goes up. It'll come out before the Sunday night game and then our Monday night games as well. But Dean, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm ready to talk some ball. It's a beautiful day out here, and let's talk some football, man. Let's do it. How are
I,
you?
I mean, I'm doing good, and I'm in the same boat. I'm just ready to start talking ball with you and figure out who's winning these games here on week 5.
Hey, we're gonna figure that out right here and right now.
All right, well, let's find out. First things first, all the way across the pond in London, we got the Minnesota Vikings playing the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, Minnesota and Cleveland. We know. Well, the biggest headline going into this one's got to be Dylan Gabriel making his first NFL career start, um, first career NFL start, and it's interesting spot for him to be starting his first game in London. Um, And I'll be quick with my pick on this one. I honestly, Minnesota just played in Ireland, and I think people aren't going to factor that in. I'm assuming they stayed there, and that travel is going to be a lot on Cleveland with a rookie quarterback making his first start. I'm definitely on the Vikings in this game.
Yeah, that is definitely a pretty rough spot um for Dylan Gabriel. I having your first NFL game in a different country is
Yeah.
honestly kind of insane. But honestly, looking at Minnesota, look at their offense. Look at their injuries. I mean, their left guard, their center, their right tackle, Aaron Jones, and Andrew Van Ginkel are all out in this game. And this is specifically the offensive line is, I think, something you really got to take note on if you're Cleveland, because Cleveland's defense is very, very good. And I think they can keep him in it. I don't think Dylan Gabriel needs to do a whole lot. The biggest thing for me, obviously, traveling is rough. Minnesota, like you said, has already been there. And then Brian Flores, I think that Brian Flores is a guy that I personally wouldn't want my rookie quarterback making his first career start against, just because the way that he schemes up blitzes, and it's just not an ideal spot, I think, for Dylan Gabriel in his first spot or first start. But at the same time, man, that I just know how good that Cleveland defense is, and we know how good it is, just based on how what we've seen. And I just have a hard time believing that Cleveland won't be able to keep this one close with their defense. So I'm gonna go ahead and go with Cleveland, to be honest.
Okay. I hear what you're saying. Missing three offensive linemen is big, especially against that D line. So I guess you're assuming a low scoring just dogfight where the Browns.
I am definitely thinking it's gonna be a low scoring game. I think both teams struggle to put up 13 points.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's unfortunate that London's getting that brand of football, but that's what they're getting. Dylan Gabriel, baby, making his first start.
All right. Next up, we're gonna talk about the Las Vegas Raiders going over to Indianapolis to play the Colts.
Uh, Raiders and Colts. One matchup that they're obviously won't be going against each other, but just two names I want to highlight is one Jonathan Taylor because he is having an incredible season, and then Ashton Genty finally had his big game against the Bears. He had three touchdowns, and I don't know if you watched the game, but he was looking good out there.
Yeah, I was
Um,
watching, and yeah, I had to get my take out. I feel like before this happened is about how Ashton Genty is probably gonna have a couple games here and there like he did last week. Um, but I had to say that to clear the air that Ashton Genty is good at football. I do think that he's good at football. Again, just not the situation that he's in. Not a fan of it.
yeah, no, I hear you. But I think I'm going to go with Indy here at home, just because. Listen, I like this Raiders offense. I think more than the average person, but Geno's just turning the ball over too much. He's got 7 interceptions in 4 games. I mean, I know his receiving core ain't the greatest. Brock Bowers is questionable going into this one. Daniel Jones at home against a defense that, I mean, other than Max Crosby, doesn't really have a lot. So I think I'm going to roll with Indy.
Yeah, I think I'm rolling with Indy as well. You mentioned the pass defense for Vegas. They're the 10th worst team in the NFL against the pass. Offensively, you mentioned Bowers, that's questionable. Excuse me. And then also Colton Miller on IR. I mean, that's just another offensive lineman that's down for the Raiders. And this Indianapolis offense, I mean, they are the eighth best team in the NFL running the ball. They're the fourth best team passing the ball, and they are one of four teams in the NFL that are averaging 30 points a game. The
Yeah,
only
for
thing,
real.
the only thing that Indianapolis can do, I feel like, to lose this game is let Ashton Denty run all over him. They lose at the line of scrimmage somehow against a bad Vegas offensive line. And even then, this is the 10th ranked team in the NFL against the run. So I think Indy's got this one. One thing that I do have for Indy is Kenny Moore being out, who's like their slot guy. So I don't know. Maybe Las Vegas can look to attack the slot. Guys like Trey Tucker might have a big game. Maybe even getting Jacoby Myers some slot work because Jacoby Myers has worked out of the slot in the past and been pretty productive. Um, there's definitely option. There's definitely a route I think for Vegas to win this game, but I definitely feel a lot better picking the Indianapolis Colts. I think they just have a significant advantage with the guys on the field.
Yeah, I agree. And Indiana Jones is real.
All right, next up we got the New York Giants going into the Superdome down in New Orleans, and is this where we're gonna see the New Orleans Saints get a win?
Well, Jackson Dart obviously got his first win last week for the Giants. Spencer Rattler's 0-10 in his NFL career. He's yet to leave the field with that winning feeling. I think the Saints are winning this week, Austin. I do. I think the Saints are winning this week. I think everyone's on. You got to remember, Malik Neighbors is out. Yes, the Giants played a great game last week against the Chargers. Um, but you look back at it and you remember this. Joe Alt, first of all, got injured in that game. We already know Rashawn Slater's out, so their O line's banged up. And the strong suit of this Giants team is their front seven. Um, so I'm not saying that that was an easy opponent to beat up on. Obviously, the Chargers are a good team, but I think that was a good spot at home for the Giants. Now you go travel to New Orleans with, I mean, their offense is really Cam Scatabo and Wandale Robinson. I mean, Theo Johnson caught a touchdown last week. I don't know. I think the Saints are due to win this game at home. I think it's a bad spot for the Giants.
Yeah, I think this is a bad spot for the Giants as well, and I think the Saints are due. I'm gonna be picking the Saints to win this game, get their first win, and a big part of that is gonna be because of Malik Neighbors being on the
Yeah.
IR, being out. Um, Tracy's gonna be doubtful, so it's really gonna be like Scatabo is gonna be the only guy that they're gonna be able to run the ball with, in my opinion. Dex is questionable. Like Giants are kind of just in a bad spot. And then you mentioned the front seven for the Giants. The Giants allow 153 yards per game on the ground, and that's fourth worst in the NFL. This Saints team, they are 10th in the NFL in rushing, averaging 124 yards a game. And with guys, honestly, Kendre Miller is a guy
Yeah.
that had a very, very good game last week for the Saints out of the backfield. And if he can kind of help take that workload off of Alvin Kamara and they can split carries, I think this Saint team can run all over the Giants. So I think that this is a great spot for New Orleans, a great opportunity for them to go out there and get their first win. And so give me the Saints. I got them winning here against New York.
Let's go, Saints.
All right. And then next up, it was we have the Houston Texans against the Baltimore Ravens. Dean, this one, this one might be ugly. This one might be ugly.
Yeah, this one might be ugly. And also, kind of like we said last week with the Chiefs and Ravens playing when they were both 1-2. These are two playoff teams that everyone expected. They're both 1-3. So one of these teams
Is going to be
are
1-4.
falling to 1-4. And that is a very steep hole to climb out of. And let's be honest, the biggest note going in this game is no Lamar Jackson. Cooper Rush making the start for the Ravens. And dude, no Roquan Smith in this game. Nnamdi Madubuike, who was week to week last week, got put on the IR. So he's done for, I think he's out for the
I
season.
think he's out for, yeah, he's out for the season, I'm pretty sure.
Neck injury. I hate to say this only 4 weeks into the year, but I really think this is a season of hell for the Ravens. I think the Ravens are, they're just injured. Look at their, and I
Yeah.
don't, I'm going to take
Yeah.
Houston.
No,
I'm going
I'll go.
to,
I'll go through it real quick. So right now, Lamar Jackson, Roquan Smith, Joby Awuzie, Marlon Humphrey are all out for this game. Stanley is questionable, and I don't honestly know if he's going to play. Odafe Alwe is questionable. Kyle Hamilton is questionable. You mentioned Matabuke is out for the year. Like it's not like these are just rink-a-dink guys that are, oh well, they're missing a couple guys next man up. These are guys that are some of the better players at their position, and some of them being one of the best at their position. So, on top of that, the Ravens are already the worst defense in the NFL from a points standpoint. They allow 33.3 points per game, which is dead last. And now you throw out that they're missing all these guys. Like, I'm going to be honest. I don't know I don't know. They're the second worst overall defense in terms of yardage and last in points given up. And then you throw in all these injuries on their defense. How are they gonna? This is the opportunity for Houston. Kind of like last week that I was talking or whatever. I don't remember. It might have been, I think it was week 3. It was somebody that played Dallas, and I was like, this is a get right game for your
Chicago.
offense. This
Chicago.
is this is a great opportunity for CJ Stroud in this Houston offense to get on the same page because they didn't look terrible last week. So I think that this Houston team is going to be able to really take advantage of Baltimore, and then also Houston's defense. We talk about Baltimore being last in the NFL in points allowed. This Houston team is first, only allowing 12 points a game.
Yeah, I mean, just one note on that Texans. One, Woody Marks had a big game last week, so maybe look for him to start maybe taking over that backfield a little bit, or at least getting more carries, more involved. But I think Houston's 1-3, yes. Look at their games. They went at the Rams, lost by 5. They lost by 1 to Tampa, and they lost by a touchdown in Jacksonville, a divisional game. And then they beat the Titans by 25. I think people are going to forget about this team. They're all focused on the Colts being 3-1, Jacksonville being 3-1. I think Houston's a little bit better than we think. I mean, their point differential, they're only minus in their losses 5-1-7, 13 points, and they've 0-3. So all one score games. I don't know. I think Houston's a little bit better than people are giving them credit for.
Yeah, I agree. And so, are you taking Houston or are you taking Baltimore?
Oh, 100% Houston.
All right. And then let's move on to our next one. We got the Tennessee Titans playing the Arizona Cardinals.
Tennessee versus Arizona. I mean, we heard Cam Ward's interview. They keep it a buck. More ass. We heard him say that. That's exactly what he said. Um, I mean, Tennessee could be playing the Duke Blue Devils. I think I'm taking Duke. I'm taking Arizona. I really don't have much to say about this game.
Yeah, I think yeah, Tennessee's been horrible. They've been horrible. And not just on one side of the ball. They're the second worst team in overall offense. They're dead last in pass. How many yards do you think the Tennessee Titans average per game through the air?
Through the air,
Yeah.
I mean, Cam Ward's only got 615 through 4 games, so 150.
So he's averaging
160.
100. So the Tennessee offense is averaging 123 yards per game through the air. That is dead last. They also have the fifth worst offensive run game in the NFL. On top of that, they don't put points on the board. They are last in points on the board. This offense is atrocious. And Calvin Ridley's questionable. There's a lot of issues with this Tennessee offense, and this is an Arizona defense that I think is not that bad.
No.
Trey Benson is out for Arizona. I think that was kind of a out of left field. I didn't expect that, but I guess he had to get surgery, and so now he's missing 4 to 6 weeks. So it's gonna r ride on DeMarcado or however you say the dude's name out of the backfield. Um,
Sir.
but a big thing for Arizona in this one, in my opinion, is Will Johnson is potentially coming back. He's been questionable all week, so we'll see at game time whether or not he's on the field. But if he's on the field, that is a guy that before he went down looked like he was gonna, you know, be a major impact on the defensive side of the ball for Arizona. So I love this spot for Arizona, and I'm gonna be taking Arizona here to win this one. And honestly, give him my lock of the week.
Okay, I like it. I won't agree with you because we can't have the same lock, but I see why you pick Arizona. I do have one question for you. Do you think Are you a little panicking a little bit about Cam Ward, or do you think this is just a product of, I mean, look at the weapons around them. They do not have good skill positions, and their offensive line isn't good. And let's be honest, Brian Callahan, I feel like he lost that locker room in like week two. So,
Yeah, I don't think this is a product of Cam Ward. I mean, look, Cam Ward was the number one overall pick for a reason, and
yeah,
you can't just go and throw away like all hope on a number one overall pick because of 4 weeks of NFL play. Like
yeah,
first off, it takes time to get adjusted to the speed of the NFL, but you also need to have a good supporting cast, right? Tennessee doesn't get the number one overall pick because they have the good supporting cast. Like they gotta go out there. They gotta kind of reshuffle the roster a little bit. Maybe get some new guys, some new schemes coming up, and the offense, at least on the offensive side. But yeah, Tennessee's got their work cut out for them, but I don't think this is all on Cam Ward at all.
okay,
Next up, we got the Tampa Bay Bucks going to Seattle, and a big story for the Bucks on this one is Bucky Irving. He's out for this one, and he's probably going to miss next week as well. Also, Jamel Dean, Benjamin Morrison, two guys that we expected by this season to be starting corners for us. They're both going to be out. Um, I don't know, Dean. This one's tough because at the same time, Bucks have been banged up all year, and we've seen them compete, and I think that they still can compete. But going all the way up to Seattle is not going to be an easy task.
no, I don't think it will be. And Seattle has injuries as well. Demarcus Lawrence out, Julian Love out, Devon Witherspoon out, but also I don't know. You probably mentioned Mike Evans. I just probably missed you say his name, but Mike Evans, obviously, we know he's out.
Yeah, I didn't
Um,
I didn't mention him just because that was kind of a given he was out. But yeah, Mike Evans
yeah,
is out.
I'm interested to see their run game without Bucky because I really think Bucky is, if not the, if not, he's top two in the NFL at just one making guys miss and also just like contact balance. Like it's so hard to get that guy on the ground. Um, but I think this Seattle team is sneaky, man. I mean, they've looked good. Sam Darnold's looked good. Jackson Smith and Jigba has been one of the best receivers in the NFL so far this season. And they're at home, which we know, Mike McDonald for some reason wins on the road more. They've won 8 straight road games, but this is a tough spot for the Bucks, man, going all the way to Seattle. Now no Bucky Irving, just added on to the injury list. I think I'm wrong with the Seahawks.
I hear you, and but I do think that these injuries for Seattle is something that Tampa can very much take advantage of, especially in Seattle secondary. Um, I look if you and I know the Bucks are dealing with injuries in the secondary as well, but if you had to get asked if I asked you, would you like Sam Darnold, JSN, Cooper Kupp at this point in their careers versus Baker Mayfield, Chris Godwin, and then Emeka Ibuka from what we've seen from him? Honestly, who would you probably prefer?
I mean, I guess I'd prefer the group as a whole for Tampa, for sure. But I don't know. I think Darnold and Baker are pretty comparable. I know Baker's numbers have, at least the past 2 seasons. I know Baker's led the NFL in touchdowns over the past like 3 years. Um, but Godwin and Cup, we don't know Godwin yet because he just came back. And then if you look at Smith and Jigba and Egbuka, I mean, they've both been incredible. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like it's pretty comparable.
Yeah, I was just curious, trying to get a read to figure out, honestly, because I honestly, yeah, I think they're both pretty similar.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I believe this Tampa team is tested with injuries. They're fighting through adversity, and I think they can go on the road and get the job done. You mentioned Bucky Irving, and obviously Bucky Irving is a great running back in the NFL. Um, so we're gonna rely on Rashad White, who before Bucky Irving came to Tampa, Rashad White was the RB1 for Tampa and was a very productive running back for us. And also this season, Rashad White is he's averaging 4.7 yards per carry. And on top of that, Sean Tucker is a guy that I think we can't sleep on either. Sean Tucker has a lot of explosiveness. I think that we still have a good 1-2 punch at our running back positions. And so I think Tampa's got the better defense. I think that despite the injuries offensively and even Bucky Irving, I don't think it'll be a significant enough step back to where it's like, yeah, this Tampa offense looks lost. So I think Tampa is very live in this one, and I'm going to take them winning on the road in Seattle.
Okay, I like it.
Next game we got is the Dallas Cowboys and the New York Jets in MetLife.
This one was hard for me. Um, Obviously the Jets are winless, and I don't. Did you watch that Jets Dolphins game last week?
I watched bits and pieces of it.
I Something that I noticed, the Jets went down early, so they couldn't really establish it. But their opening drive, Braylon Allen actually fumbled inside the 5 on their opening drive. But they went right down the field on Miami and they ran the ball, I think, 10 times and threw it once. They are trying to establish an identity with Justin Fields, Brees Hall, and these guys run the football, and then Garrett Wilson can kind of be like their big play guy. Um, and this Dallas defense, as we know, is dreadful.
They are
And
prone to giving up the big play for sure.
you're giving me Dallas with no CD, as we know. I don't know. On the road too in MetLife. I don't love it, but I think I'm taking the Jets.
Yeah, I look at this one. I mean, Dallas is going to be missing Cavante Turpin, CeeDee Lamb, like you mentioned, Malik Hooker, their left tackle, their right guard, and their left guard, Tyler Smith, is questionable as well. And then we know what this defense looks like. So I'm all over the Jets. The Jets are missing Braylon Allen, who got put on IR. So it's going to kind of fall on the shoulders of Brees Hall to be like the workhorse featured back for the Jets. I think that is honestly just going to open up more running opportunities for Justin Fields.
Yeah,
And maybe, like you said, that might force them to throw the ball more. And if they're gonna be forced to throw the ball, this is the worst defense in the NFL against the pass. They're giving up almost 300 yards a game. So I think that this is not a bad spot at all for the Jets. And I think that with all the injuries on the offensive line for Dallas, this is a Jets defense that can make Dak Prescott's life pretty hard and honestly even make it tough to run the ball against. So I like the Jets. I like the matchups. I like that with no CD, Sauce Gardner is probably going to be all over Pickens the entire game, and I
yeah,
like that. I like that matchup. Um, so yeah, give me the Jets as home puppies.
yeah. I like it. We're on the Jets.
Next up, we got the Denver Broncos playing the Philadelphia Eagles, Dean.
I mean, I feel like I'm a broken record saying this, but Philly has won 20 of its last 21 games. I'm not fading Philly, so Philly's my pick. But also, something about Denver, listen, I would love for them to prove me wrong, but I feel like this Denver team, and I felt like this about them last year, they beat up on bad teams, and when they play good teams, they don't win. And or they win close games, but they destroy bad teams. They aren't very good against good ones. And last week they beat the Bengals by 25, and they lost on the road against the Colts, lost on the road against the Chargers, and then they beat the Titans week 1. So through 4 weeks, that's what they've shown. And again, I'm not picking against the Eagles until they lose. So
Hey, fair enough, but I look at Denver and honestly, this Philly team just hasn't looked
no, they
they
haven't.
haven't looked like they're undefeated, but haven't looked good doing it. Like
Yeah,
they are very up and down. They have yet to play a full 4 quarters of football. a full 60 minutes, and they're gonna have to play a full 60 minutes against Denver if they're gonna get a win. I like Denver in this spot a lot because I think Philly is really gonna struggle to move the ball, to be honest. I think that if Denver can loaded the box or load the box and um force Jalen Hurts to throw it, I think that Denver has the guys to match up. And honestly, this Philly team we've seen they're the second worst team in the NFL behind Tennessee in passing offense. So I think that Denver matches up actually pretty well. They just got to be able to slow down Saquon, and that's gonna be what it ultimately comes down to. I don't think Philly's defense has been very great. They're not, flashy in any department. A big thing though, Denver, they're the fifth ranked rush team in the NFL offensively with 143 yards per game. Philly is 21st, allowing 126. So that's an advantage that I think that Denver, if they can run the ball, it might open up the pass game for Bo Nix, Cortland Sutton, Marvin Mims, Franklin, even Evan Ingram, like guys that like they got guys that can make plays. So I like Denver in this one, and that's why I'm taking Denver as my dog of the week.
All right. I agree with everything you said to a T, but I cannot pick against Philly until they lose. That's my thought
And
process.
that is very fair. But we're gonna move along. We got the Miami Dolphins playing the Carolina Panthers.
This one's gonna be a fun one to tune into, huh?
No kidding. No Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill's gonna be done for the year. Chuba Hubbard is out for Carolina. I mean, probably the two biggest names on both sides. And I mean, yeah, this one should be a doozy.
I mean, honestly, are any Dolphins or Panthers fans out there actually going to watch this game?
They might honestly, probably not.
Because like you mentioned the injuries. I said last week that Carolina is different at home than they are on the road. Not saying that they're, world beaters at home, but when they're on the road, they're really bad. When they're at home, they're just kind of bad.
Yeah.
Um, but they played one game at home this season, won 30-0 against Atlanta. And you I'm not gonna take I can't take Miami with no Hill, but I I think this Miami offense with Devon Achane and Ollie Gordon can get things going. Maybe Waddle on the outside, Malik Washington. I just think Carolina's better at home, and no Tyreek. I can't pick Miami, so I'm gonna go with I guess Bryce Young and the Panthers after they lost
You know,
42 to
Dean, I'm right there with you. Actually, I look at Miami with no Tyreek. They got a bad offensive line. I just can't pick Miami right now. I don't
yeah.
believe in Miami at all. I think that just picking the home team in Carolina is the safer pick. And also, the offensive line for Miami sucks. And there's a guy on that defensive front that I feel like nobody really talks about, and that is Derek Brown. Derek Brown is one of the best, if not, honestly, he might be the best interior defensive lineman in the NFL from a statistics standpoint. And just the dude is a game, well, not from a statistics, but just like from an eye test standpoint, he's a game wrecker.
He is a game wrecker, and he takes up a lot. That guy's a load up front. He takes up a lot of space.
He
But
does. He's gonna take two or three blockers.
yes, he is. And one thing I do want to say about the Panthers is Jalen Coker's coming back this week, and even though he's not the biggest name in the world, I actually think him and Bryce Young have a pretty good connection. I think Bryce Young trusts him. So look out for Jalen Coker this week.
I like it. Next one we got is the Detroit Lions and the Cincinnati Bengals. And Dean, I'll let you kind of let you kind of lead the way and how long you want to talk about this game.
Obviously, we don't want to talk about the matchup long. I'm taking Detroit by 100. The Bengals have scored. Listen, they scored 10 against Minnesota, but I'm not like they scored a touchdown late. They basically scored 6 points in the last 2 weeks at Denver, at Minnesota. I know those are tough spots to go out and score points, but this offense, listen, I know the Bengals are not winning the Super Bowl. Their defense is not good, but if you're content with just watching Jake Browning go out there and get, I don't know the numbers against Denver, but they didn't cross the 50 after the opening drive. They didn't have a snap in Denver territory. Listen, like I said, the Bengals are not winning the Super Bowl, but I want to see them try to do something to try to revive this offense because we know their defense already sucks. So they're going to have to score to win, to at least compete in games. And they're not even doing that, even with all the weapons that they have.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna spend a whole lot of time at all. We know Cincinnati. We know Cincinnati. We know how bad they are, and they're the worst team running the ball by 30 yards. They average 50 yards on the ground a game. Like the next closest is 80.
That's crazy.
Detroit's gonna dominate this game, and I'm not even gonna talk about it anymore. Like Detroit's winning this game. If I had a second lock of the week, I would put it
Yeah,
on this
honestly,
game.
yeah, this is my lock of the week right here. Um, do you listen? I know, like I said, the Bengals are not competing, but would you like to see them try to make a move or just be content?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I
I
feel
I, I don't want to spend too much time on it because actually, you know what? Yeah, we will. I don't think that they should trade for a quarterback, and this is my reasoning. Because in order to trade for a quarterback, you're going to lose assets. It's going to be you're going to lose a future asset, like you mentioned. The Cincinnati Bengals are not a Super Bowl contender. The only reason that it makes sense to trade for a quarterback is if you see yourself potentially being in the playoffs contending for a Super Bowl, and they are not that right now, even when if Joe
no.
Burrow comes back. Like they're just not there. And so it makes zero sense to trade even like a fifth or a sixth round pick to get a backup quarterback to try and, replace Jake Browning. It makes zero sense because we've seen fifth and sixth round picks in the past, even. Oh, it's a fifth and sixth round pick. It's not that valuable. We've seen fifth and sixth round picks be pretty productive in the NFL. Like, you never know. You could have a diamond in the rough. Like, I don't think it makes sense at all for Cincinnati to trade for a quarterback.
All right. Until Jamar Chase and T. Higgins come knocking on that door and saying, trade me because we can't afford.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Anything can happen, but that's my stance on it.
I hear you. I do hear you though. I hear you.
Um, all right, let's wrap this up. We got the Washington Commanders with Jaden Daniels coming back, and then we got the LA Chargers who are going to be without now their second offensive tackle. They're missing Slater already, and now they're missing Joe Alt. I mean, what are your thoughts? Washington's missing Scary Terry still, though.
Yes, Scary Terry's out, but like you mentioned, Jaden Daniels is back. No Joe Alt, no Slater, obviously. At home, I think Jane Daniels coming back is going to give them a boost. I think Washington's going to be my dog of the week. I didn't like the way the Chargers. I think the Chargers maybe will have a different game plan than they did against the Giants, and I know those weapons are still there, but I think it's going to be tough for them to stop Washington with Jane Daniels on the ground. I mean, we saw Jackson Dart running all over him last week. I'm going to take Washington.
Yeah, so I think that Scary Terry being out obviously is something to take note of for Washington. JD5 coming back, obviously something to take note for Washington. But I mean, I'm gonna be honest, Scary Terry and JD5, they had never really looked like they were on the same page, even when they were both in the lineup. So I don't think that is that significant of a hindrance. Obviously, just him being on the field is impact in its own, but him not being out there obviously isn't. I don't think it's going to be a crazy impact as many people think. The bigger one, like you mentioned, being Slater and Alt being out for LA is going to be, can they give Justin Herbert time to throw the ball, because this is the sixth worst team in the NFL at pass defense, and the LA Chargers are the third overall offense in passing. So I think that this is definitely, or no, they're the fifth overall in passing. But I think that this is a team that LA, if they can give Herbert time, they have the talent. I expect my breakout Quentin Johnston to feast again, and I'm gonna keep rolling, honestly. I think he finds the end zone again. So I think that he can definitely find the end zone for a fifth week. And I still think LA wins this one. So I respect the pick as your dog of the week, but I gotta be. I think I gotta still roll with LA here. I'm not gonna hit the panic button on them because they showed some cracks in the foundation. I think that all they need is to pour a little quick drying cement over those cracks, and then they're gonna be just fine. This LA team is good.
All right. You got LA, I got Washington.
All right, and then that's gonna wrap up this Sunday slate episode. Um, Stay tuned, like I said earlier, for our Sunday night video, which is going to be between the New England Patriots and the Buffalo Bills. We'll be putting that video out, so make sure you subscribe if you're not, so you don't miss it. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video down in the comment section. Let us know what you think about our picks, and let us know what we got wrong. Let us know your dogs, your locks, and Dean, you got anything else?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, without further ado, we appreciate y'all stopping by as always, and we'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.
Peace.